What is up, boys? On this week's episode, we came back to Red Steel Martial Arts. We sat down with Shaun, Shubert, and Mike White. We went over their trip from Thailand and Mike fighting for the first time professionally. He's currently 1-0. And we pretty much they shared their stories and their experience there. And then we kind of broke down the UFC 308. We really started going in depth with all the fighters and everything like that. I'm predicting Max Holloway TKO third round, or it can be a 5-round banger going to decision. And then we also talked about donuts too.
Donut eating competition coming soon.
Yeah, bro. Against Shaun. That's gonna be a.
You're in a tough spot, man.
Yeah, I can't.
He's got the mindset. Dude.
Yeah, I don't have that mindset. By the way, if you guys have that weak mindset, Shaun's actually putting out a what is it?
Just like a training, like
it's
mindset,
like training mindset
yeah.
Online though, an online course.
Uh-huh.
That's the words I was looking for. He's looking for an online course that he's making. And yeah, Alex, like I always say on this episode, you guys are not going to want to miss this episode. And yeah, I think I had a lot.
Tour just starts right now.
Backtrack. What is up, guys? I'm Tiago. Alex is here. We're far away from each other this time around. He's not my buddy anymore.
I know.
But we're back with some returning guests. We're back with Shaun, Shubert, and Mike White of Red Steel Academy here in Taunton. Guys, welcome back. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having
we
us.
all have mics. We all have mics.
Yeah. No more news. No more news reporter. You know?
We all have mics. It's a beautiful thing.
It was a good role for you, though. I will say that.
I appreciate that, Shaun. Thank you.
So, you guys actually just came back from Thailand. Not recently, but a while ago. Right?
September, so a month ago.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, so it is
it's
recent.
pretty recent.
It's pretty recent.
Yeah.
First of all, how was the experience? I guess we can go with you. Like, you've been to Thailand multiple times, right?
Yeah, this is like my 7th or 8th time.
He's a
going
local
up there.
now.
I'm
He's a local.
now.
Everyone knows your name,
He's
right?
local here now. Yeah.
So how was it over there? Was it like for you? Like,
I love it
like,
there.
Pretty normal.
Dude,
he started
yeah,
speaking
it's
Thai and
awesome.
everything like that. And like,
I started taking notes. Yeah, it's in my notebook. I got some Thai in my notebook. Yeah, I really like it there. Just the culture. If you're going there as a fighter, especially, or a Muay Thai enthusiast, it is their national sport. So, like this cat wearing a baseball hat, you see people walking around Muay Thai shorts. They're selling stuff at the mall. They sell stuff at 7-Eleven's. Got Thai oil. You could just go to 7-Eleven and buy stuff for Muay Thai. It's the same as, you could go and get Big League Chew at CVS down the street from here or something, like it's just designed around their culture. There's no NFL, there's no NBA over there. It's Muay Thai. So if you're somebody in my position, it's just the perfect place for me because you got beaches, you got coffee and like food and Muay Thai, and that's it, dude.
That's
like,
all you need,
That's all you need. And that's
It's a good life right there.
But it's wild because it is such a revered part of the culture that when you say that you're going to go be a Muay Thai fighter, it's way different than when people say they're going to pursue a career in combat sports around here. You're looked at like a part-time job, or what else do you do, or something else. But when you go over there, they're like, no, we live at the gym. We train twice a day. We get up and go jogging. We eat together, sleep together. It's like dorm life.
it's like a brotherhood almost.
Yeah, it certainly is, for sure.
100%.
The camps are like really, really ingrained with like the gym and the culture and that rapport with each other. Yeah. There's like lots of little pockets because there's typically so many trainers at the big gym that we're at. There's like little pockets of these guys, but they live dorm style lifestyle. They eat together, sleep together, they train together. They're hanging out together. It's their entire lives. So to get away from the hustle and bustle of the Western world and be able to detach and go over there for a little bit, it really helps me reset. It gives me a super big step back and focus as a business owner. And I get to just completely enjoy the sport and the passion that I love with people that are like, they're there for it. Even the foreigners that go there, they're there for the Muay Thai, and it's just like you just have this connection of like the sport. So it's really, really cool for me.
Hell yeah, man. That was awesome. I got touched. I'm gonna go to Thailand now. Not just to watch.
2025 trip.
Hey.
Sign-ups, guys. Sign-ups for 2025 trip. Taking
link
names
right
right now.
So, Mike, this is your first time in Thailand, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So, first of all, how was the flight there? Because I know that the flight's pretty brutal.
Brutal, dude.
How long? 24?
I think the total amount of travel time with the little stops in between, it was closer to like 26.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So you never flown that far.
Hell no. No.
Are you a fan of flying or no?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. So it sketches me out a little bit. So
Yeah.
never mind being up in the air for that long.
Yeah.
But you just get used to it and you just accept it.
I mean, you're already up in the air.
You have to accept it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so share your experience. First time in Thailand, like there must have been like, I guess overwhelming at first, and then you kind of like settled in and everything like that.
Well, going there, me and Shaun, we had separate flights leaving Boston.
Oh, so you were alone?
Yeah, for most of the trip. So it would have been overwhelming, but we had our last stop before we head to Bangkok. We ended up having the same connecting flight from South Korea to Bangkok. So we met up in South Korea and then flew to Bangkok. So he was with me from there to when we finally got there, and he already knew where to go, what to do. So it was
Again local.
Local
Local guy.
Local guy.
Yeah. So the whole process was smooth from there.
Oh, that's good then.
But it was cool, man. Yeah. It's different out there.
What was minus the whole fighting thing? Like what's one of your favorite like things that you did out there? I know that fighting would probably brought you a lot of joy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One thing that stands out to me most when I even think about it is just how friendly the people are out there.
Yeah, Boston people are not friendly.
No.
Mass holes, right?
Mass holes.
the
Mass
whole-
holes is the correct term.
Yeah, but that's definitely what stands out to me. All these people are they're living off so little because the U.S. has a lot more money than over there, obviously, but these people are living with a lot less and they're so much happier. It definitely changes your perspective on the whole thing. And I highly recommend it to anybody that has the opportunity to go.
Just to go there for leisure or
for a vacation, to train,
Yep.
or to any of it.
Gotcha. Yeah. So we'll get into the fighting. You fought there. This was your first professional fight.
Correct.
How was it? Was it a little bit nerve wracking? Like, was it different?
It was definitely
nerve wracking.
It was a tale for sure.
Ooh.
But yeah, no, it was.
This podcast is far too short for that. I'll tell you that.
I guess we need part 3 again.
Yeah, next time. But
just a little bit.
Yeah,
I saw
Just
the
a
fight.
teaser. Just a
A little teaser,
Mike,
you
just
know?
a teaser.
yeah, all right. So long.
Don't tell me like plot twist. Mike fought a ladyboy. Like don't tell me that. Because then I would say screw the whole script. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, no. No, it was a cool experience. It was definitely different. It was nerve-wracking for sure. Especially part of the tale was getting sick the week of, so that definitely played a part. And there was a bunch of different emotions going into the fight, but Shaun held me down. And
Yeah. Sean's a great coach.
I'd say
100%.
so. Yes.
Good guy, local guy in
Thanks,
Thailand.
guys. Appreciate it.
But I did watch the fight. Great fight, by the way.
Thanks.
I loved every minute of it, especially in the second round. You know what I mean? I watched that. Oh.
Thank you.
I still watch it.
Yeah, dude, you have to.
I
You
just
have
throw
to.
it on before bed. It's on repeat.
We'll put the video in the link for you guys to watch it. But that was actually a really good fight.
Thank you.
Obviously, kudos, congrats to you.
I appreciate it.
1-0 professionally.
Hey.
So are you? So now, I guess the question is now, right? When you compare the Eastern way of fighting, where it's all like Muay Thai, kickboxing out there, they're like live, breathe, everything. How is training different from there to the Western side of the world? And I know it's like it's always 110 degrees. You're
Yeah,
sweating your
was-
balls off.
That was tough to get used
So
to.
I mean, I know here at Red Steel, you guys train at like 90 or 100 degrees. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I mean, we
Wait,
just
wait.
typically leave the air off.
All right,
so like we're in a metal space building, and when it's 100 outside, it's 100 inside,
All
or
right.
whatever.
You don't-
But
We don't promote bad
Mike's a
work
plumber,
environments.
though. In case you guys missed the first episode, so we do turn the heat on because if we get a frozen pipe, bad news.
Bad news, bad stuff.
Yeah.
Bad news, best. But yeah, how? Because I know it's different, but I'm a fan of fighting. I don't really fight.
Yeah.
From a fighter's perspective, how different is it from from the eastern side of the world to the western side? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the heat with the training definitely took some getting used to. And like Sean was saying before, that's their thing. Like that is all they do. And Sean he is very familiar with all of the fighters and the trainers over there now, so he was able to, kind of, get me affiliated with the group. So like he was saying, we were getting up at 5:30 in the morning and running 5-6 miles or whatever it is, and then we'd go to the gym right for what was it, 8 to 10.
Yep.
8 to 10, and then we'd go do our thing, eat, and chill out a little bit, and then we'd go right back to it at 3 to 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another 2-hour session. Yeah, so they do 2 hours. They do the run, and then they do 2 hours in the morning, and then break for a while, and then they go 2 hours before dinner, and then dinner, clean up, do whatever for the night, and then do it again. And if you're a fighter, if you're living that lifestyle, or if you're looking to gain that type of experience and really immerse yourself in that Muay Thai culture, then that's the way they do it. That's the lifestyle, the way they live it, for sure. There's lots of people that come for one training. They come in the morning and then mess around the rest of the day. They come to the afternoon thing. They like to sleep in. There's people that never run. The fighters are supposed to be running, but there's practitioners that just are traveling. There's people outside of fight camps. There's people that are just enthusiasts that are swinging by just to see this world-renowned facility. So the gym's always super high energy. They got 10 rings with 4+ trainers in every ring. So now you got to think there's at least 8 to 10 people in every one of those rings. So just in the rings doing the work, you got 100 people smashing pads, and then you got bags lined up for rows. You got mat space cages. There's a whole big strip of mat and ropes for people to do boxing rounds and clinching rounds, and a whole separate strength conditioning area. So it's a massive place, and the energy is just crazy. The energy is unmatched in any place that I've ever gone in the whole world. It's wild. That's why I love going back there.
What gym did you guys go to? What out of
It's Fairtex Pattaya.
Fairtex.
Yeah.
The whole 2 hours, people just smashing pads. Yeah.
And but like the screaming helps, right?
Oh, with the breathing, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the intensity that he was talking about.
Like just always on, 100% go.
Yeah, that's just what they
That's
do.
what's up.
You
That's
know?
what's up. Maybe a few guys can probably learn something from that. You know what I mean? Maybe maybe some fighters, like some local fighters, should probably go to Thailand, train with those guys, and be like, wow, this is like.
And people that have never fought or trained before, they'll go there and they come back completely, with a solid foundation for Muay Thai.
There were people on our last trip that came out with us that had only done some fitness boxing classes, or that had only thrown hands, that were workout enthusiasts, and they took the trip with us and went in Rome. So they jumped right into the deep end, and every single person that was in that camp came back to me afterwards, and they were like, man, I think I'm going to go home and do some more Muay Thai. Oh man, that was so great. I think I'm going to maybe switch up my boxing membership and add a little bit of this to my routine. It's just hitting the pads and going through the body mechanics and the fitness portion of it is such a different animal than any other sport. It really is.
It's probably the striking that most mirrors like street fighting, right? Because you're using pretty much all of your limbs, right? You have your hands, your feet. Knees,
yeah, I'd
elbows,
say it's a very
clinch.
complete striking art. It was originally taken from their military system back when there was all kind of feudalism and stuff happening in Asia. And these guys were using karate. The Thais are using something called Muay Baran, and basically it's the empty hands art of striking with your hands and feet, elbows, and knees. And they basically won freedom and beat the Burmese using Muay Thai, and that's how it became so renowned in their country, and that's why they equate it to such a deep part of their culture. It's because they look at it like the same way Americans look at guns, right? Like if we didn't have guns, we wouldn't have a revolution, we wouldn't have freedom. So the Thais look at Muay Thai in the same light. Their country was just being birthed in the 1300s, not the 1700s or 1800s. You know what I'm saying? So like what they were using, they didn't have the guns and the weaponry, and the civilization was less developed than when we started fighting to revolutionize our country. So it's really ingrained in their culture from the start of their country.
That's
Dude,
wild.
This guy should write a book about like the origins of Thailand and the origins of Muay Thai. I would read that book.
There's stuff out there. There's
Yeah,
lots of cool
but
guys.
I want you to write it.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, I wasn't doing anything really, so I figured.
But so first of all, glad you guys came back. Fully not hurt. Thank God for that.
Appreciate that.
I promised Mike I wouldn't let him come home hurt.
Because we need Mike. We need Mike.
I told him I'd keep him safe.
Yeah. So we're glad that you guys are both back here, and hopefully, in 2025 when guys will go back again, you become 2-0 again.
Hopefully, you'll be there to see it.
I hope so.
yeah.
I hope so.
That would be
Let's
cool.
bring this pod on the road, dude.
Hell yeah, let's go.
You know?
Thailand
Thai-
podcast from Thailand.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Takes over Thailand.
Listen to me. You will never, ever see another site like in Thailand for a blue collar podcast. Everybody will see the power lines and lose their fucking mind on the lack of OSHA regulations that are happening in Thailand.
I've always seen videos
It
of that.
is wild, dude.
Dude, one of the power lines, all the poles, the telephone poles,
Yeah, yeah.
like the power lines needed work. So these guys got in a like an excavator, like
Yeah.
with the metal bucket.
Yeah.
The guy hopped in the metal bucket and he lifted him up to go work on the power lines.
That's it. My man Brian over here, he's got the video.
Yeah.
He's got the video. No helmet, no
Nice.
safety vest, no goggles, nothing, dude.
I don't think
No
OSHA's a thing
breathing
out
strip.
Definitely not.
I don't think OSHA. I think OSHA's just a United States thing.
It is, yeah,
I
certainly.
think-
yeah,
yeah.
they're not a.
They don't give a fuck about.
No,
like,
they're not
out
doing
there.
anything in Thailand.
Yeah.
But
No regulations.
no regulations.
Bring this podcast over there. You have people like moving over, like I can fix your plumbing real quick.
Open up a plumbing company right now, and then on the plumbing company, the office, there's a hidden gem underneath just for Mike.
Perfect.
But so transitioning from your time in Thailand, I do want to get into the big pay-per-view that's coming up this weekend, UFC 308. Max Holloway versus Ilya. I'm gonna butcher the fuck out of this.
Topuria.
Topuria.
Yeah.
I always say Topuria, but Ilya Topuria versus Max Holloway for the featherweight belt. Huge fight, and then the co-main event: Robert Whittaker versus Kazmat Chimaev. Both two of my favorite fighters in the main and co-main event. Huge, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Recently, our good friend Alex Pereira fought and defended his light heavyweight title against Khalil Roundtree, and for the fight, Khalil actually went to Thailand and trained and learned. How important is it for fighters that haven't really done like Muay Thai to train to go to Thailand and train and prepare for, against a machine like Alex Pereira? I mean, it's kind of like inevitable you're gonna lose against Alex Pereira, but
He did look good, man.
he did look great
Yeah.
in the first couple of rounds. He did look great. I'll give Khalil that, but he does just something different about Alex Pereira. He's not human. I don't know what it is. I think personally for me, like if I was in the best shape of my life, I was 205, right? And I'm in the octagon and I'm looking down and I see Alex Pereira watching down, like, and he just does a fucking arrow. That's it. Like I lost. Like that's just I just lost. You know what I mean? But how important is it for other fighters to learn the Muay Thai way and try to go to Thailand and try to train in that aspect? Granted, they never really touched it as much. Because I think Khalil Roundtree was a wrestler.
I think he had like a wrestling.
He had a wrestling
Yeah.
background.
I think it is extremely beneficial for somebody that has a wrestling background. I think that there are certainly camps around here that are putting out the capacity of fighters that can handle that type of volume, that can handle that type of pressure or strength or whatever it is. I think the big difference, I think, in the Western way of getting it done is it gets like a little bit more specific. We have all this kind of sports science, and
Do you think it gets like too complicated with like the sports science and everything like that?
well, it makes it harder for you to do yourself. That's
Yeah.
for sure. You know, I mean, over there, they just tell you go running. You know,
That's it.
that's it. They're like, you know, like, I'm feeling stressed. They're like, go run. Like, oh, I'm getting nervous. Like, go run. Think about the fight. Like, I don't think I'm in shape. Go run. You know, the whole thing is like super old school, Rocky. Like, hey, just go chase a chicken. You know, like it's super fucking old school over there.
Yep.
I mean, do they have cracks where there's pockets of breakthrough and they're doing some of this more high tech stuff? Like, for sure, 100% there is. And there's Westerners that go over there and they're bringing the knowledge of sports science and strength and conditioning to a lot of these places as well. And I think that it's really more the lifestyle change. I think that it's an environment change when you go over there, and the environment change, you're getting, like Mike said, used to the heat. There's this constant grind of get up and run, show up at the gym and be on time, stay for the 2 hours, get 5 to 8 rounds of pad work in, do a couple more rounds of just boxing, do some more rounds of just clinching, and it's just hours and hours of every day. And you're doing it with people that's all they do. People that have never left Thailand, they're just regular people over there. Nobody's famous, nobody's whatever, but they've fought in the biggest stadiums. They've got 200, 300 fights. They've been doing it since they were 6 years old. When you come over here, there's small pockets of kids that grew up wrestling. There's small pockets of kids that grew up doing martial arts. Now, when I was a kid, there was only karate and boxing. Now the sport has evolved so much that kids are starting in MMA. There's no road to evolution. That has been kind of chopped. Now we're at this place where kids are growing up in the scene. They're growing up in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. They're growing up doing wrestling. They're growing up doing Muay Thai or boxing. It's a lot more popular and prominent than back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do think that there is a bigger population of people that have been doing it longer. I think the culture shift is super powerful thing for the mind. When you fly 20 hours and get off a plane, and then you're in this land where it's literally been developed through this fighting art, and then that's what you're going to use to fight in the cage next week. Like, that's a really big deal.
I feel like it's like what you said, like a cultural shock, going from like, you know, I won't say like me, but like, you know, certain fighters that live out in like California or like Texas, where like, you know, they have like all these gyms and like, you know, these special machines and like, you know, these pads and everything like that, like certain areas. And then you go to a place like Thailand where it's like traditionally old school. You're going one-on-one with a guy and you're trying to learn as much as you can. So I think that's the difference between the Eastern and the Western world of things, you know.
And I think one thing too that Sean, it seemed like you were touching on a bit, is just like the Western world has so many distractions, right? It
There's
seems like
a ton of distractions. Make no mistake, there's stuff to do in Thailand. Directly across the street from Fairtex, there is a giant 4-story mall. It is massive, and it's super cool, super modern. It's got like lights and sounds and all kind of like indoor fucking water park, you name it. It's like movie theaters. It's wild. There's totally like a ton of high class, very quality VIP stuff you can do if you're going out there for leisure. But if you're there to train, if you're there to get serious about fighting, there is probably no other place on earth like fighting in Thailand. That's just my
That's your personal
opinion. That just like it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's on local cable. They played at the bars. They played on local TVs. They're playing it at places where normally, you'd go into some place that has a TV and they got on like CNN or The View or some kind of other just like Judge Judy type of TV that's just like taking up. These guys are playing Muay Thai
on TVs.
On TVs,
It's
just everywhere.
casual,
it's
right?
just part of the. It's so part of the culture that I can only imagine that it's unmatched with that kind of like energy, that kind of mental shift that it puts you into this zone where like I go there and I leave and I'm like a whole new person. Yeah, just
You feel refreshed because
rejuvenated. Yeah, completely.
you're there to like coach and like train.
And there's no hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
Mm.
like you said
Especially
before.
when you have a good team and they're your business and your bills are being taken care of and
Yeah.
people are holding you down. Like that's a way more solid thing because I could be over there stressing out and like there's a 12-hour time shift. So
You're only missing like half a day. You know
I'm
what I mean?
awake. Well, I'm awake when nothing's going on over here, and then
Yeah.
the whole night it would be like problems and like I'd get no sleep. So it's
Yeah.
just like super quality to have guys
A
that
solid
are
team.
that are
Yeah.
here holding
Yeah.
you down when you're gone.
Hell yeah. I think the only other place I can really think of that definitely not on the same level, but I feel like it's up there when I feel like when you go like sambo or wrestling, you go to Dagestan in Russia. I feel like that can definitely be not up there with Thailand, but on the list.
Yeah.
With like obviously Brazilian jiu-jitsu and everything like that. Sambo and wrestling with Dagestan. I feel like those guys out there are just insane. You know what I mean? Especially training in the mountains and everything like that.
And honestly, what Sean's saying too, just about the culture, right? Like with
Yeah.
Dagestan, it's the religion of Muslim. Like
Yep.
there's something beyond the actual art of what you're doing in the gym. Like your whole life, if it's dedicated to that and you have people to support you in it, it makes it easy. Like not even easier. It's just like inevitably, like you're going to be that thing.
Yeah.
Like in America, we have baseball, football. We have all these things to pull you in all these different directions.
Right, but then even you see like the pockets, like I was saying, you go down south and you go to Alabama, you go to Georgia, you go to Florida. What are these kids doing? Playing football.
Football.
They're doing this. No, I'm just kidding.
Right, so you got this big like, you go to the Bible Belt, or you go to down south. These kids are playing smash mouth football. You go over here, you go up north, you go near Canada, you go to places like upstate New York near Buffalo. You go to places like Boston. You go to Minnesota. Like these guys are playing hockey, right? So these pockets of like a ton of other sports that are national, international, sports world, globe, whatever, Olympic games. But these cats are like just doing Muay Thai. A majority of them are just doing Muay Thai. It's a huge part of the culture. They have baseball. Yeah. Do they have soccer? But they're like playing soccer to stay in shape for Muay Thai.
Yeah, I never see them in the World Cup qualifiers ever. So, but going off of that, I think a lot of different parts of the world can definitely learn from Thailand. Just like the whole culture thing, how to like bring fighting into the culture. You know what I mean? So, rest of the world catch up with Thailand. That's it.
I think a lot of the world is well on their way. Muay Thai
100%.
for sure, skyrocketing.
Do you think it's like the number one style of combat, or on its way to become the number one style of combat?
I think that there's just gonna always be this argument of like,
because you have a lot.
Like,
There's a lot.
You're gonna have
styles.
this constant like, who's better, Kobe or Jordan type of argument with like, oh, what's better, boxing or Muay Thai?
Is this-
It's a UFC or like, hey guys, like a lot of these guys, like they don't even know the difference between MMA and UFC. They have no idea it's the same thing. It's like, what are you guys doing? Like UFC stuff? Like, yeah.
It's definitely gained a little bit more traction than what it used to be now.
like Muay Thai style of fighting.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
I'd
Sport.
say
I feel like
sport in
it's
general,
definitely getting more popular because I do see a lot more of it now. And then even when I watch like one championship or UFC or
Right.
whatever, these guys like I'll watch the embedded episodes of like the UFC. These guys are training like Muay Thai, and it's really impressive that these guys are going out of their element. Granted, like Khalil Roundtree wrestler, but he trained Muay Thai. And it's very difficult to train Muay Thai when you really don't do it in 6 weeks. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's definitely picking up traction, and it's definitely something where it's going to be number one type of fighting style that you have to fight against. Because, I watch like
the real disconnect becomes the language barrier. When you're just there to grind it out and you have a good background and you have somebody that can share the knowledge with you and help communicate, and you spend enough time there, 6 weeks to get ready if you have no Muay Thai for a UFC fight, too short of a time.
How long do you think? Like, comfortably?
If you have no Muay Thai experience,
like no
a
to
year.
like little. Oh, a year. Oh, wow.
Yeah, if you have none, like no Muay Thai experience to fight in the UFC, if you are only a wrestler and you want to go to the UFC, you're spending a year in Thailand, 6 months maybe. But you have to get through the language barrier. The big thing for him when we went over there was he was real far behind in the clinch from what we would consider good to what they would consider good. And the ability that we had to stay there for a month, the knowledge that we already came with, and then my relationship with the trainers to be able to connect and pass the information back and forth between them and to Mike is what really elevated his clinch, his elbow game. All that stuff went through the roof in 10 days because there was ability for communication. If you have no ability for communication, these guys are just gonna slap you with the pads or fucking yell at you and tell you to do it more, do it faster. They can get enough communication across, but the details and the intricacies get lost because there's no words that they can find in English to describe it to you.
There were several times where they were trying to tell me something, and I couldn't pick up what they were saying, Yeah. And he was right there behind me, kind of translating everything for me, because he's been acclimated out there, you know what I mean, to the way they speak and the way they pronounce the English words, you know what I mean.
Can you speak some Thailand right now?
I can say.
Go ahead.
They're hello, sawadee kap.
So
you give them the bow.
You got bow.
That's
Give them the bow.
Yeah.
It's like shaking hands.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, dope.
Yeah. There's a story behind why they don't shake hands. I don't know.
Look at me, dude.
That's
That's your story to tell.
I don't know. I'm not gonna butcher the story, so I'm not gonna say.
Yeah, I'll look it up. I'll look it up later tonight.
Guys, Google it. Ask ChatGPT.
But so yeah, that going back to the language barrier thing, like it's super important to have a translator. I'm assuming, right? Especially when you're in a foreign country, you got these guys like just staring at you in the eyes, screaming at you.
Right. Well, they're trying to help me.
Yeah, that was the thing. They weren't doing it out of spite or like being mad at you. They're like, they were like, they're probably getting frustrated.
Yeah,
like,
they're looking at me in the eyes, telling me something over and over again, and I'm just
with a smile.
You know what I mean?
That's me when people start talking to me in Spanish and shit. Portuguese as fuck, and I'm like, oh
yeah, like I just don't.
Or like I remember one time when I visited family in Portugal, they started like saying like, oh Tio, and I'm like. Like I was so like awkward. It was a little bit awkward, but I wasn't getting yelled at or like hit with pads, so it was all cool.
Probably would have learned faster.
I would have learned a lot faster if they were hitting me with pads and like smacking me in the face. You know what I mean? But let's just dive in right now. UFC 3, what's happening? I don't know if you guys are going to be watching it. I am because.
Are you going to Buffalo Wild Wings?
What?
Buffalo Wild Wings, dude. What do you mean, what? Guys, you can go to Buffalo Wild Wings and watch the fights for free. So if you're paying $50 to $80 to watch this shit, don't do that. Go to Buffalo Wild Wings. Mike and I like to go sometimes. We, drink waters and eat.
You guys go to
chili fries.
Drink waters.
Mikey doesn't drink. That's why.
Yeah, here and there.
We're on the waters, dude. Hey, look.
Mike, hey, I like these mosquito bites you got on your arms right now.
Muscles. You can't get muscles like that to drink beers.
Nah, dude. Mike can even barely finish one, guy.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I'm not gonna.
Too many carbs. Too many carbs. But I will. Going back, I do go to Buffalo Wild Wings. However,
Not for the UFC fights.
Honestly, like I would want to go with like a group of friends, and Alex is the only one that's like, and obviously you guys too. You guys should come. Alex is the only really one that I talk to like about UFC day to day. I feel like I need to talk to you guys more. I feel like I'm a piece of shit. Right now.
I had to do my homework for this.
Right?
Right? Yeah, I had to like check stats and go on. Like, I actually do a meeting with Joe Lozon every Wednesday. Him and I do like a little business meeting and share stories.
The Joe
Lozon. yeah. His gym's actually like, I don't know, 5 miles down the street from here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he runs a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym, MMA program out of there.
It's
different than Muay Thai, yeah. So it's cool. He's a super nice guy though. We've been friendly for a decade, and then recently I hit him up for a little advice, and he was like, yeah, come on over, and we just hit it off, and we're like super on the same course, you know, like we have a lot of the same goals, and it's really hard when you're in this industry to talk to people even about business, because it's such a different business than plumbing. It's such a different business than retail or whatever else these other guys are selling, where you have this kind of overhead, or like we're selling ourselves, we're selling stuff that we're teaching knowledge, and we're selling it like packaged up like subscriptions, and we're trying to, like make ourselves likable, put ourselves out there, and then create a community where people want to stick around. Right. So it's been really cool to be able to link up and just talk shop and kind of like get our brains together with somebody else, like you're saying. It's like you have nobody else to talk to about it. Like how many other gym owners?
I need a break from Alex.
Yeah. So Joe and I get to meet, and it's really cool. But I was able to ask him a little bit of his insights about UFC 308. So that was cool. That was my little.
That's honestly awesome. That you guys are like,
it was super cool. Yeah, it was super cool. Yeah,
I remember watching Joe Liaison early on in his when UFC was kind of like not big as it was now, but I do remember watching a couple of his fights, and he's a fucking
good
fighter.
Dog, man. He's a dog.
He's a dog. D-A-W-G. Spell it. D-A-W-G. Joe Liaison, you're a dog. But we will get into this. So 2 big fights, and also I feel like another fight that's on the main card. Oh man, I'm gonna butcher the hell out of his name. I know Danny Inke.
Dan 50K Ige.
Is it 50K or 10K?
50K, because when you knock someone out in the UFC, they get like 50K bonus. So
yeah.
He knocked out
man, I'm underpaying the fuck out of this guy.
Yeah.
I kept on saying 10K. I'm like, oh man, that does not sound right.
The one guy I was surprised to see on the undercard though, Rafael dos Anjos.
Rafael dos Santos.
Yeah. Antos?
Is it on?
I don't know, but
the lightweight.
I think he fights at 155.
Yeah, lightweight. He was supposed to fight Conor McGregor like years ago, but he broke his leg.
Dude's old as hell.
Yeah.
He ain't 40 yet.
Close, dude. I'm out of the game anyway. So don't worry about me.
But he is on the undercard. I didn't notice that.
That was surprising.
I don't think so. I think because he's in his 40s, but I feel like it's going to be one of those things where it's like it's going to be his like last fight.
I think so.
I just feel like he has nothing else to prove. You know what I mean? I had a good run with the lightweight championship a couple years back, and then ever since that leg injury when he broke his leg.
I didn't even know he broke his leg.
Yeah, he broke his leg before the Conor McGregor fight, because him and Conor McGregor were gonna fight for the strap at 155.
And that was the reason they didn't.
And the reason why they didn't, solely because he broke his leg. I forgot which part of his leg, but his whole entire leg was like swollen. I think it was his ankle or like the leg. I'm not sure. I'm not a doctor. I'm a plumber. But instead, they made the Nate Diaz Conor McGregor one fight.
Oh.
And they made it at 170, I think, or 175. I know, no, so it was a stupid weight. It was a weird weight. That was the replacement fight. And honestly, no offense, Rafael, I'd rather watch that fight than you versus Conor McGregor. But however, we got 2 big a co and a big main event. We got Max Blessed Holloway versus Ilya Topuria.
Which is kind of interesting for these guys too, because they're striking specialists, both of them, Max
Both of them.
and Ilya.
Yeah.
They're a little bit more on the boxing heavy than they are.
Ilya really has been toting himself as this total package, though the boxing thing got brought up because everybody has been titling Holloway as the greatest boxer in UFC history.
I mean, I don't think it's ever. He literally said it. He literally said the best boxer in the UFC.
Granted, that being said, is what is, I think, forcing him to keep going back to the boxing. It's like a good shit talking point that he keeps bringing back, and he's got something to lean on. Like, I'm gonna point to the middle of the ring, and you're gonna stand there with me. I'm gonna do it in the first round, and we're just gonna stand here and bang it out. Like, that's, Holloway knows he's playing some head games a little bit. He's trying to get in his head, and even the shit talking that happened at the press conference was kind of wild. It was like a little pompous and disrespectful in my opinion. But I mean, you're selling tickets to a fight. So.
I think that's a big thing, right? Isn't it? Like, you want to play mind games with your opponents. You want to like put on this big show to like.
Yeah, maybe.
But I feel
it's
like
personality. To be honest with you, it's. A lot of these guys are just doing whatever resonates with them, and they just amplify it.
It's kind of like I ultimately I think like the whole shit talk and everything like that. It's just one to get underneath the opponent's skin, two to sell tickets because
1,000%. But you're either good at it or you're not. That good at
you
it.
can't be like like very like small talk and you're like you're a bitch, like you can't say that. You got to be brash. Like Colby Covington's a great guy to like pure great example. Sean Strickland, another great guy. Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz. The list goes on and on. You know what I mean? So it's like, have you ever done that? I know you're very humble, but like, have you ever thought about like playing a little bit of mind games? Like like.
Is that even part of the culture of Muay Thai?
Yeah, I feel like it's not.
Usually,
you know what I mean?
No, it's really not.
It's very traditional.
It's way more like respect.
It's respectful,
and, like,
right?
Yeah, I mean,
have you ever fought anybody that like tried to do that though?
There were a couple instances, like we're at the weigh-ins and like we're doing the face-off, and they might like whisper like something here and there to me, but I don't say anything back. You know what I mean?
You're like stone face, right?
It's not me. You know what I mean? Like them saying things to me, that doesn't really.
It doesn't affect you.
No,
Oh.
I wouldn't. I don't think so. It didn't at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
But you don't really see that in Muay Thai. It's a lot of respect between both fighters. Because I do see in a lot of your fights, at the end of the fight, you're dabbing them up, you're hugging them, That's what's up. That's good sportsmanship.
Right.
Yeah, even when you finish somebody in a fight in Thailand, it's very customary to like go over and say you're sorry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like
Did you do that?
You cut.
You didn't knock anybody.
You cut them open, or you knock them on, and like you go and check on them afterwards, or it does happen here, but there is a lot more of this kind of like WWFs. Yeah, like you're like talking smack and doing all that kind of jazz. Yeah, there's there's personality in Thailand for sure. They're doing theatrics, and they'll get really proud, but the level of shit talking is just different, I think.
I feel like that's an American thing.
Does it work? Because I've never been a fighter before. Does shit talk does that, because you guys train so hard in the gym and you're always training your mind, does like anyone saying anything actually do anything to you?
The mind thing is so different. It's a completely different animal. I've actually started working with a clinical psychologist in Zurich, Switzerland, and she and I are putting out a product all designed for mental fight camp, and it's going to be like a resilience thing for pre-fighting mentality and how to build up powerful mindset, because I've even pulled fighters across the world from US to Ireland to Thailand, and a lot of people just have this very kind of like single-minded or like very narrow view of like the psychology that goes with. They've related all back to the physicalness. Oh well, you train hard and then your mind gets right, or you run and you gain more confidence because you know that you're in shape, or whatever these things are. But there's actually biological mechanisms and chemicals that are happening naturally in your body, and then there's all kinds of tools and things to do on how to handle that kind of stuff, how to build rituals around getting to where you need to be, how to stay on track through that stuff, how to handle these kind of big psychological hurdles when you're in the locker room, when you're making the walk out to the ring, when you're having some kind of adversity in the middle of the fight and you need to audible in between rounds or something like that. I think that one of the biggest things is the mental part that's lacking from a lot of people's training in general. I think that they put it on the back burner, and I think that some people have an air of confidence to just do this sport, and a lot of it though gets then built up by the people supporting them and whatever, and it's really, it gets inflated, so your confidence is inflated sometimes. And then when you're in the locker room, or you're walking down that dark hallway to the ring, or you're standing in front of the ropes, or the door closes to the cage behind you, and then you know that you're in there by yourself. So typically further out from the fight, there's very little emotion going through those fight camps. There's very little emotion. You show up to the venue for weigh-ins the day before, and now you're like, oh man, I didn't know I was this fucking nervous. Then you show up on fight day and you're in the locker room and it's smells of Thai oil and people talking all kinds of whatever and people smashing pads and getting warmed up, and you're like, fuck, this is getting really real, like super fast.
Yeah.
And if you have no psychological training to deal with that, you're gonna essentially like crumble under the pressure. Yeah, so I'm doing this mental fight camp. We're putting an online course together. I'm also doing one-to-one trainings, online trainings. So if anybody wants to message me, get online, do some kind of mental fight camp. If you're training otherwhere across the world or some other stuff like that, just send me a DM, follow me on Instagram and send me a DM that you saw this fucking podcast. Let me know you seen me on here with Tiago, and we'll get hooked up with some mental fight camp. It's
all about the mentality.
It's all about the
You gotta
mentality.
have iron mind to fight,
1,000%,
you know what I
dude.
mean?
Is there any like small tidbits or like things that people can do to kind of start that process of like
Win now.
Right now, I'd say big pro tip is to, without getting like super detailed into all these different chemicals and biological mechanisms that are happening, I'd say the first thing that people can do straight away is to just start recognizing what they're recognizing, meaning you start having thoughts of doubt, start jotting that down. You start having thoughts of confidence, start jotting that down. Then you can start building a list of things that you do that make you feel good. You start making a list of things that you do that you might need to focus on. Maybe the things that you feel good around, you might build a ritual around maybe harnessing some of that excitement, but typically like let that stuff fly. And if you have any things that you have reservations about, or if you have objections or hurdles or any adversities mentally, especially that you're trying to get over, that's what you should start noting and jotting down, and then you can start to build rituals around that to like switch the psychology behind it.
I know he kind of just like took it like you know, but any
Like-
tips from like your point of view?
Tricks like mentally.
Yeah, just like like because when you go into like every single fight, you probably have the same game plan. You get everything taped up, you get any gloves on. What's something that you do mentally to prepare yourself?
Got the snake charmer in his ear.
He's so much more able to go into depth about it, but
Like if there's like any like ritual that you do or something like that.
for me, I purposely don't have like specific like rituals. Like I don't wear my lucky pants to weigh-ins. You know what I mean? I don't
Yep.
wear my lucky underwear to the fight venue that day. You know what I mean?
You
Like,
don't believe in like
He
superstition.
doesn't wear any underwear to the fight.
Catch me, lady boys.
But is there like any tips that you've learned mentally? Like any tips
from like your first fight to like now
Now.
you're a professional,
Yeah.
right? Like there's obviously been growth through your training, but
Yeah.
like mentally, I'd imagine too.
Yeah. And a lot of it has stemmed from him, because obviously he has guided me through all of these fights and all of these mental hurdles that I've gone through. And one huge thing that's always worked for me is really, it sounds corny, but it's real. I believe in the manifestation and like visualizing all these things, like even the bad things happening in the fight. And
That's chapter 4 in the online course, guys. Visualization.
a sneak peek.
We're jumping ahead a little bit.
But like envisioning myself, I'll close my eyes and lay down and just envision myself getting my hands wrapped, and envision myself walking out, envisioning the crowd, and just playing the fight in my head and envisioning bad things happening to me, but me overcoming those things and then coming out on top, just like things like that, you know what I mean? And just replaying that over and over again. And me and him just worked for 6 weeks on a specific game plan, and envisioning myself, you know, executing this game plan and doing the things that I have to do, and, you know, just doing the things that we've worked on the whole camp, you know?
Fuck yeah, Mikey. Fuck yeah, dude. I like that. Like just laying down on the ground, just envisioning everything.
Yeah.
That's powerful, guy. That's very powerful. I never really.
All the things he just said, like
Yeah.
like the people smashing pads, like hearing that, like in my head, like in the back while getting my hands up, like just I try to get everything in there, you know.
Because then you're not overwhelmed, right? Because you've almost experienced it already in your
Exactly.
mind before. So
Exactly.
it's just like, oh, I've already done this before.
There's actually a ton of science that supports the correlation between visualizing and actually being able to change the neuroplasticity to like start hooking up and growing some of that myelin that you need for that fast twitch, that fast action. When your thoughts go to the muscles, the myelin is what encases the nervous system, so it shoots right to that track without any kind of electricity jumping off or having your body wobble or get like off balance or anything like that. So visualization has actually been scientifically supported with proof that when you visualize and have those deep on purpose with purpose connections, especially if you're doing something like training Muay Thai twice a day for 2 hours, and then you're doing your work to sit down after the sessions and visualize it, your bodies are actually going to like start snapping out. I start falling asleep sometimes in fight camps, and I get lucid, and then I'll start like swinging it. I'll wake myself up because my body's twitching from like throwing kicks in my dreams or like elbowing or like falling down in my, in my sleep. And it's pretty wild, but like you make some serious connections while you visualize like that.
God damn. Holy shit.
It's wild because, like, as a casual observer, we're not aware of any of those sorts
We
of
don't
things
think
that go
like you
into it.
guys. You know, like I don't think like you. You don't think like me. Obviously, maybe you do. I don't know. But the way you guys like, at least when it comes to fighting, like, you know, the way you guys think is like such a different level. You're on a different spectrum, on a different world. Maybe we even call it. You know what I mean? So I think that's the difference between you and a normal human being, or like, you know, a guy that's just doing it, like doing fighting for fun, you know, when you compare it to like somebody that does it for like, you know, their life. They have an iron mind, you know what I mean? Nothing can phase them. That's so like, you know, when I watch your fights, your stone face, and I can see why, because he probably puts that mentality inside of you. You know what I mean? So
I mean, yeah, I started with him and I'm still here.
Yeah, you're still here. You know, you haven't quit yet. You know,
Well,
no quitters here. I know I saw a sign before that said quitters something in here.
Oh man, my mom parked out back.
But even feeling the energy, like if you weren't a fighter per se, and you walk into the locker room beforehand and people are warming up, you can feel it.
You can feel it, right?
Like you can feel the nerves and the jitters.
Yeah,
and
there's tension back there.
yeah.
For sure.
Goddamn.
Feels like you guys are going to war or something. I guess
we
it is
are.
war,
Yeah.
right?
Wait. There was a sign. There was a sign in here the last time. Something about war. I know
It's
for a
on my
fact.
ring.
Yeah.
Yeah. This means war.
Yeah,
My collaboration. I'm in collaboration with Ute Sports Gear. Shout out to Ute Sports
hey,
Gear. What's up, baby?
Hey.
Shout out
Mikey
to Ute,
decided not to
my
wear a
man.
shirt today, but it's
Sammy
piece of
and
shit.
Julian, they got a shop over
That's
in
a
Thailand.
nice shirt.
These guys are super quality gear. They do all kind of custom apparel. They do bags, boxing gear, Muay Thai gear, shin pads, gym bags, boxing stuff. They're a sister company of Fairtech, so they actually have an office and a facility right next door.
That's awesome.
Is
Yeah, it's
Fairtech
pretty cool.
the gym that you guys went to Thailand?
Fairtech's in Thailand, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yep.
wow.
Yeah.
It's all coming together.
It's all coming together.
The connections.
Yep.
All right, let's jump into UFC 308. All right, so big co-main event. Kazmat Chimaev versus Robert the Weaver Whittaker. This fight was supposed to happen on UFC Fight Night. The last UFC Fight Night, this fight was supposed to happen. The one before it got canceled. I don't know which camp pulled out, but somebody wasn't ready. I'm excited because it's been a long time for Kazmat to fight. I haven't seen this guy in months. I've seen videos, but I haven't seen this guy.
He was like super active during COVID too. He fought like 3 or 4 times back to back to back. He did one of them was like only 2 weeks apart, and the second one was only 4 weeks after that.
The guy's a machine.
Yeah, he's dog for sure.
And he's right now his current record is 13-0. I'm pretty sure it's definitely in the double digits now. We'll go around. We'll talk about picks, and we can go into details. DraftKings. Whatever we can pick. Whatever bet we want to pick.
I forgot to look at DraftKings.
God damn it. Anyway, but I'll go around. I'll say my pick. I will say Kazmat, 4th round by submission. Or that's a little bit too much. I would say 2nd round submission.
Ooh.
Against Robert Whittaker, because Robert hasn't been I feel like ever since his second loss to Israel Adesanya, he hasn't been the same. Personally, that's me. I say 2nd round submission, Kazmat.
Man, it's a tough one, right? Because Robert's a beast, and Hamzat's a beast too. It's hard to know how it's going to play out.
Yeah,
it's essentially.
I would love a 5-round banger between those.
Well, that's what it's going to be, right? Because
I don't think
Robert's not going to be able to wrestle with him. So it's
that's what I'm thinking. I think that it's might be a lot of jumping around though, unless Buddy can get his hands on him and take him down, and Whittaker can't defend the takedown.
Because the only guy that gave Kazmat a problem was Gilbert Burns. They went the full 3 rounds. I remember Kazmat got cut open in the 1st round, and he almost lost it in the 1st round. Then he came back, and he just out-wrestled Gilbert, but Gilbert stood in there. Yeah. So, do I see Robert doing that? Probably not.
But that was at 170, right? So this is 185?
I think that
welterweight, yeah. Welter.
Yeah, because he fought Kamaru and Gilbert Burns at 170. Now he's fighting at 185, and then those guys are a lot bigger.
Yeah.
So I don't know how the wrestling is gonna translate. 15 pounds is
it's
a lot,
huge,
right? Like,
it's a lot.
Yeah, when you're pressing it down on somebody too, 15 pounds is for sure.
Because I remember going back to the COVID fights, all of his wins was 1st round submissions or 1st round stoppages. So I'm like, this guy's like legit the next big thing.
Because he just empties the gas tank, right?
That's
essentially.
it. I think that's what happened with the Gilbert Burns thing. He put everything out in the 1st round. Gilbert stayed with him, gave him a few bad hits, got him cut. Then he's like, "Fuck, dude! Now I'm in a real fight." You know what I mean? But I think it was a questionable decision. I feel like Gilbert should have won that one, but I'm not going to complain because Kazmat's one of my boys. But I do see this fight at least 2-3 rounds. But I definitely see Kazmat coming out with the submission.
He seems a lot more confident, even in the press conferences.
Yeah, I think Whittaker's a dog, but I think the wrestling aspect, I think he just took half his game away, and he even said it right at the press conference, like, I'm doing everything I can to stay off the mat with this guy. Like, you just told him.
Yeah, he just kind of gave it away.
Well, not just that. I mean, because it's like, yeah, you can tell him what you're going to do, but now you still got to go in there and stop me from doing what I want to do to you. Yeah. So there is that side of the coin, but I think that you're in the UFC, you're doing mixed martial arts, and to say you're going to stop wrestling or try to nullify it completely, that you're going to do everything in your power to stay off the ground with this guy, you want to say something like, hey, if it goes to the ground, yeah, that's cool, I'll get back up, or something like that, but to say that you want to avoid being on the ground, just to me, reading between the lines means that you feel like you're subpar on the ground with this guy. And I think that just in these type of fights, especially at this type of level, that the guy that's more well-rounded in that area is going to be able to do whatever he wants, and this guy's going to have to pigeonhole himself into staying on his feet or defending takedowns, or Whittaker's going to stay on his feet. He's not going to ever have to think about defending a shot on the other side. Whittaker's now going to have to play the feet game. He's going to have to defend shots. He's going to have to try not to get taken down. He's going to have to try to put on his own pressure and impose his own will. And I think he's going to have half the chances to do it.
So what's your prediction for the fight?
I have a hard time seeing Whittaker taking a victory. I couldn't predict which round. I mean, he's definitely a dog. I mean,
you think he can go deep?
I think he can go deep. I don't know if he has the skill on the ground to withstand the wrestling part of it, but I don't see him coming out with a victory.
All right, so you're picking Cosmot, so that's 2 for Cosmot. Mike, what do you think?
Pretty much the same thing. I think Kamzat's wrestling is gonna be too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very overwhelming because once you're on the ground with him, I feel like he's not going to let you breathe.
That's going to be what it really comes down to is can he get his hands on him and can he hold him there?
Yeah.
Like if he can, I think that Whitaker's going to have a problem. I think that.
Or he completely like Whitaker goes into his camp like fully trying to like defend the wrestling, and then Cosmo just learned like hey, I can box, and he just absolutely knocks him out. That could be the.
He's
most...
knocked people out before.
Yeah.
It would be par for the course. I mean, Whitaker could get knocked out for sure, but I just think having a well-rounded package gives you a better advantage in this game.
100%. What do you think?
And especially, I think if you're like nervous about the takedown, right, or just know that your skill isn't as good as his with the wrestling.
That's where
if you're
I'm
like trying to block takedowns, or like you're just leaving stuff upstairs a little bit more exposed. You know what I mean? So it's like there seems like there would be a hole there. I mean, I don't want to count Robert Whitaker out. He's a beast. You know what I mean? I think anything can happen.
He's been in the UFC for a long time. You obviously have to have some skill to get this far in the UFC. Right. I would,
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's got skill. It's not about that. But you're just saying like, okay, like this guy's at the highest echelon, this guy's at the highest echelon, and you're pitting them against each other, like all things being equal. Like, all things aren't equal because this guy's got good wrestling, and this guy is trying everything he can do to avoid wrestling altogether. So
I wouldn't say that in the press conference personally for me.
No, I would have kept that under my hat, for sure, even if it was a main concern. It's actually the main reason that I stopped doing MMA when I first started competing in combat sports in general. I took every amateur fight I could take. MMA, Muay Thai, kickboxing, K1 rules, boxing fights, whatever I could do just to get used to the sport and get some experience. And I stopped doing MMA after 5 fights because I had no clue how to wrestle. And then all these dudes found out that I had no clue how to wrestle, and I was getting dropped on my fucking neck every fight. Yeah. It was horrible.
Yeah, once they know what your weakness is,
that's just taking advantage of it.
That's the whole thing.
Your prediction?
Yeah, I think Hamza takes it. I don't know what round. I don't think it's a first.
I'm kind of I got big balls for saying second round submission, but
for sure. That's a bold statement.
You said it.
Hey, but I'm confident in my boy. That's it. That's all that matters.
But is it a 5-round fight?
It's a co. So
but if it's not a title fight,
okay, so it's probably 3. All right, it's co. I always thought co-main events and main events were always 5 rounds. But
title fights are going to be 5 rounds.
So.
Yeah.
The way Hamza traditionally fights is he comes out guns blazing. So I think if he was going to get a finish or a submission,
it would be first.
It probably happens sooner rather than later. I think if it gets into like those decision-making rounds, he
gets gas.
Yeah, Robert might take it. I think the safe bet is Hamza, but I don't know.
I think he's a favorite right now. So in the betting odds, but
guys, check DraftKings. Let me know what the bottom line is.
Do you have a special code that I can use? I wish. And then the other big fight, I've been waiting for this fight for a while. It's been cooking for a while. Max Holloway versus Ilya Topuria. Hey, I got it right. I got it right.
El Matador.
El Matador versus Max Blessed Holloway. And this is a fight that I've been wanting to happen for a long time. Let's talk about their last fights real quick. Ilya knocked out. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he knocked out or knocked out.
He stopped him.
Alexander.
Volk. Yep. Yeah, Volk.
Possibly one of the greatest.
Yeah, Volk.
Yeah, it was. He knocked him out. I forgot what round, but he still knocked him out. One of the greatest featherweight champions.
Second
was the second round, right? But that was after the Islam
head kick knock.
Yeah. So I think that had a huge thing. I think that was a big thing.
Because that was a quick turnaround, wasn't it?
It was. I think it was because I think Alex took that fight short week because Islam's opponent pulled out, and he's like, "I'll fight him again." I'm like, I think it was like 2-3 weeks maybe. I turn around, I'm like, dude, why put yourself through that? You know what I mean?
He did so well the first one.
He did. Robbed. I will say he was definitely robbed in the first one. Even a lot of the commentators said it too.
Yeah,
robbed, and I believe it.
I think Joe Rogan said like if you go by like playground school fight rules, he won because he was on top of him, beating him up at the end of the fight.
Yeah,
and at school, if you're on top of the kid punching him and the teachers pull you off, it's you won that fight.
Yeah, I always lost. I always lost those playground fights. I was always that kid on the bottom getting punched. But yeah, the reason why I kept on getting punched is because I didn't come to Red Seal. That's why.
Should be.
But so he won against Alex. He won the belt from Alex. Alex, one of the greatest featherweight champions of all time. That's arguable, I think.
I mean, he beat Max Holloway.
He did
3 fights.
Yep.
To
and then now, then you got Max Holloway, current baddest motherfucker, championship holder now. He just knocked out. He went to a 3 rounds. Was it?
It was last round.
I forgot.
It was like
five.
they stood in the middle at the last 10 seconds.
How much?
And I think he knocked him out like with the
1 second left.
Yeah, 1 or 2 seconds left. It was wild.
So he fought out possibly one of the most hardest hitting lightweights in the UFC division. Justin Gaethje. He knocked him out in the middle of the ring. He did come right here, bitch, and flatlined him. Yeah. And I was so shocked by that
because he was winning the fight. If it goes to decision, it's like you won that in the judge's eyes. Why take that risk to throw down?
Because it's Max.
Did you hear what he said about why? Somebody else asked him, why would you do that? You're winning 4 of these rounds already. You're up 4 rounds to none. Like, why are you doing that? And he said, because he's a good guy, and he felt like if it was him in the other position, that he would have done it for him. Give him that chance to fucking bang it out.
That's
a badass fucking thing. Yo, that shit made me tear up. I was like, yo, that's like, you could have just been like, play it safe, whatever, take your points on the win, see you later. You fucking like.
But instead, he middle of the ring.
He gave him a chance too. That's what he said. He goes, I just gave him a chance to try to
because it could have gone either way. Because both of them
they were
both
slugging each other. They were both slugging it out. Right
I think that was up there with Michael Chandler versus Justin Gaethje. That fight, I feel like obviously that one went to decision.
That was some real gangster
but
stuff.
that was easily one of my favorite fights.
All of Gaethje's fights are just bangers.
Dude, it doesn't matter who he faced.
The human highlight, bro.
Yeah, the human highlight reel. You know what I mean? But so Max fought at 155 for that,
against
right?
Gaethje, yeah.
Against Gaethje. So going back down to 145 now. Do you see any differential? Seeing will his power be different? Because he knocked Justin Gaethje at 155. Is the power still going to be there at 145? Obviously, the accuracy, the precision, it's all going to be there. But do I see the power having an involvement?
Have you guys ever fought at different weight classes, or throughout your career did you fight the same weight class?
You always fought at 145, right? Or 135?
35.
Well, you always fought at 135. Okay.
Yeah.
I've fought from 145 to 170.
And so there's a difference, though, obviously, because you're heavy.
I'm fat and out of shape at 170.
Well, have you ever done fighting at 170 and then back down to 145?
Yeah, that's what
I'm
saying.
Is there a lot of difference, in your power?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Even he'll tell you when I'm in shape and I'm switched on, it's a tough camp. But when I'm 145 pounds, it's I'd say manageable power. But when I'm walking around right now at 165, 170, when I grab you, I'm lifting weights different. I'm I don't care about the extra 5 or 10 pounds, right? Carrying it a little bit in my belly or whatever it is. But when I grab you, when I hit you, I'm fucking way stronger right now. Am I just as agile? Am I just as endurance ready? Maybe not, but there's definitely a difference. When I lean on you in my clinch when I'm 170 pounds versus when I'm 145 pounds, is a difference. It's a fact.
What do you prefer for yourself? Well, what do you think's a better version of Shaun to fight someone?
To fight somebody, I do like to fight around 147's my primo goal weight. Yeah, I just feel like it's not that extra 3 pounds is kind of cushy where you don't have to stress about getting the water out of you. But I'm super shredded up, that poster over there. That's a 145er fight, 147. It just diced up. It makes you feel good, there's not that much difference in power that you're oh man, I'd kiss these abs goodbye to get that right hand back.
You never think about that, right?
No. It's it's there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just if it's you too, or if it's just in my mind, but even when you're that low, if you went through the whole diet thing, and you're right before a fight, do you feel faster? Like
Yeah,
quicker?
yeah. You definitely do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all
you
right.
feel like lighter. Yeah, you feel like less bogged down. I think a lot of it is the diet, to be 100% honest with you. So if you guys got a shitty fucking diet, you can change that shit
This
up.
guy right here.
Let me know, dude. I'll hook you up with that too.
Has Mike told you my diet normally?
Your diet?
Yeah. Yo, that's a very judgmental look, dude.
I can tell it's not very good.
Tell him, Tiago.
Yo, there's a running joke at our work. You know, they call me the donut man, and I have a donut at least once a day.
At least one?
Yeah. At
How
least
many
one.
can you put back, do you think?
We had this conversation.
I
So it
kind of want to
depends.
have a donut eating contest with you.
That'd make for a good video. I'm just saying.
Tiago can
what's
put
your-
down some donuts.
I can.
What's your favorite kind of donut?
If it's for like food eating competition,
Strawberry first.
no. That's too heavy because it's frosted. It's too heavy.
I'm asking what your favorite donut
Strawberry
is
frosted
first.
is my favorite donut.
Okay,
However, if we're having like, if me and you started like going at it,
we're sucking down eclairs.
no, but like me and Mike had this conversation because I forgot the other kid's name, but I won't name drop. But him and our boy Jaden, they called me at like
Proceeds to name drop.
I'm gonna not I'll name drop, but the other kid I won't. They both called me at like I think 11 to 12, and I was taking lunch break, and then they were like, "Hey, we got a random question for you. How many donuts can you like down in like one sitting?" And I'm like, why? I'm like, oh, because we're gonna like set up a
donut off.
We're gonna set up like a donut eating
They
competition.
just watched Dunkin' Donuts like whip the trash fucking dumpster.
They're like, yes.
Like, hey, how many donuts do you think you could eat? Like, how many's in that bag?
And
Tiago had a solid breakdown for it.
I had a solid breakdown, dude. Because you understand because I was in culinary arts, I was in baking. Like
I
I
could eat some
understand how
fucking
like
donuts, dude. I'll tell you that.
I need to lose weight. Anyways, so I broke it down. I'm like,
Not
listen.
before this donut eating contest.
So I broke it down. I'm like, listen, Mike, it depends on the donut. Like if we're eating glaze, I can probably eat
Nice and fluffy, nice and light.
a light donut, like a yeast donut. Between six
going,
to
dude.
6 to 8 donuts, right? For
That's
like
it?
yeah, bro.
Bro, I'll warm up with 6 donuts, dude. Are you kidding
I
me,
think
dude?
I think I'm being humble, like maybe 6 to 8.
I'm asking you how many you can eat. You give me a humble answer, dude. I want like
I don't know. Like
I'll
I've never
crush
really.
a baker's dozen of glazed donuts in under 2 minutes.
That's pretty impressive, but I broke it down for him. Anyway,
That's pretty good. That's pretty
That's
good.
pretty fucking good. I'm being like
You
you
know,
know.
bet
It
you
melts
mashed-
in your mouth, dude.
do-
You know,
the Krispy
like,
Kreme
you can-
ones melt in
Yeah,
your
you
mouth,
stuff
yeah.
2 of them bitches in the
But I broke it down. I'm like, listen, glaze probably a lot. However, like the blueberry cake donuts or like cake donuts, they're a little bit heavier.
That's true.
So
this
you're
guy
gonna-
does know his fucking donuts. Like, this guy knows what he's talking about, guys.
But I was like, maybe like a couple of those. Like I don't think you can win eating cake donuts. You know what I mean? Like the heavier donuts.
I think you're sleeping
The
on yourself.
challenge is on, dude.
I think you can put down an easy dozen.
I mean, I'm competitive.
Stop
like,
looking at me like
I'll become a diabetic before I lose a competition, but I think we got ourselves a match. This donut eating competition, dude.
You've heard it now, folks.
Jesus. All right. Fuck, I already lost my train of thought. Anyways, fuck, you got me fucking.
Again, I'm thinking about donuts. You can't stop thinking about anything else.
No bullshit. I swear to God, on my mom's life, I swear to God, I have not had a donut today.
Do you eat like Dunkin' Donuts, or do you go like you get like,
Dunkin'.
Oh my god!
Why?
You went to culinary school. You don't go like get.
Oh no, like I get
Craft
crafty.
donut?
I get crafty.
Yeah. He's got
Yeah, I
some,
go to like
This guy's
Rocco's Donut Company.
Rocco's. Okay, shout out to Rocco's. What's
Rocco's
up?
Donut- huge. I love those
Where's
guys.
that?
Where's man? I know they have 3 different locations.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's up? Google Rocco's.
And then in Providence they have one, PV Donuts, another great donut place.
I think a girl that I know used to work there before.
They make massive donuts.
Yeah,
They make huge donuts.
You know, there's a kid in Bridgewater, Sweet Needs. Shout out to Sweet Needs Bakery down in Bridgewater, Bridgewater Center. He does all these kind of like craft donuts. He's friends with my boy Augie. Augie's Food Truck. Shout out to Augie's Food Truck across the street from Red Seal. They did a couple of like little events, but the donut kid came over here and we go down there for like Thanksgiving and stuff. He's always doing like these specialty donuts.
I'm
Real
gonna
good.
start calling you extension cord because you give me all
Really
these
good.
fucking plugs.
Really good, dude.
All right, let's get back to the fight and not talk about donuts because I'm going to get hungry. So Max beat Justin Gaethje in his last fight by knockout in the fifth round of the BMF title. Where I see this fight going all 5 rounds going to decision. 100%.
That's a hot take too.
That's a very hot
Both
take.
of these guys are saying they're going to finish each other.
Pause. What?
Come on, Tiago.
Come on, dude.
I think both of those guys can go at least 5 rounds.
I think they have the capability to go 5 rounds, but they also have the capability to fucking end each other inside of 1 round.
Because Ilya's undefeated at 15-0, I believe.
14 or 15.
Yeah. And Max, I'm pretty sure Max won his last 4 of his 5 fights, I think.
He's never been knocked out, too.
No,
so
and that's a key thing you got to take.
The other boxing thing they've been kind of harping on. I'm the best boxer. He's the best boxer. I'm going to knock him out. I'm going to be the first guy to fucking finish him and this and that. So
I see it going. I
man.
I think it's going to be a war. I really think so. That's me. Like if I had to take another guess, I'm going decision. I don't care. It's going to decision. It's going Max Holloway decision. Max Holloway is winning the fight. He's bringing back his featherweight title. If I'm being if I'm trying to be a little bit more realistic, 3rd round TKO, Max Holloway.
Ooh, hot take.
So what do you think?
I'm actually extremely undecided about this fight.
It's hard.
It's a really tough take
because Ilya's been such in great form.
Yeah, that's really what it. And I was super unfamiliar until I started doing a little bit more research for this chat we were going to have. I started digging
appreciate
into
the research.
I did. I dug into him a little bit just because I didn't want to feel stupid. But I was doing some research, and he is definitely a very well-rounded package. Very well-rounded fighter. The confidence is through the roof. I think there's an air of kind of like this fucking snotty attitude that I hope Holloway smacks out of his mouth. I don't know if he's kind of blowing up his attitude to mask some fear. I
think that might be it. Honestly,
there honestly could be.
Yeah.
The way he was chirping at the press conference was, like I said, a little bit distasteful in my opinion. But then the other side of the coin is like we were talking about all that trash talk. Like some of these guys, they like that stuff. I tried out for the BKFC and I made it all the way through their whole process of tryouts, and I got cut at the interview process because they were like, we want this mix of theatrics meets real fighter meets like some kind of comic book superhero character. I'm like, try my best, dude, but like I just want to fucking fight people, like I'm not here for all that jibba jabba stuff. So
they were like, no, we don't
yeah, they cut me after that, but I think that is part of the script. I think it's part of the game.
Yeah.
Creating some of that out of nothing. And I think that some of these guys, when they're acting, they're a little bit of them are good at it and some of them are shit at it. And, I think that they probably said, hey, let's talk this up a little bit.
Try to get
a little bit fired up a little bit. Maybe a little bit of it's that. Maybe if it's like we're saying, masking some fear, or it's like just this super arrogant air of like overconfidence that, to me, it's putting a bad taste in my mouth. If he just went out there and fought like a fucking maniac, I'd respect the shit out of it. But just the way that he's shit talking is no humor. It's kind of distasteful, just a little disrespectful in my opinion. And I just think it could have been done better. That being said, you can take nothing away from his fighting ability. So
absolutely not.
I mean, I definitely think that it's going to be a war.
Do you think all 5 rounds?
I hope. Actually, I'm more hopeful that it's going to be a war. You might get 2 guys in there that just have so much like riding on it that nobody wants to go near the other guy. Mm-hmm. You never know what you're going to get. But I mean, if you get what they say they're going to give you, if you get the fucking stand in the middle and bang it out type of fight you're going to like that they're saying they're going to give you, you can expect a war. You can expect that these guys are probably going to go 5 rounds. It could get finished on the feet, it could get finished on the ground. I mean, they're both versatile in the sport. I think that Iliad's got like a little bit of like an edge, being like a little bit more well-rounded, being a little bit I think he's a little bit younger. I think that like he's got that like new style where Holloway's got that like kind of older style. Like I don't know where it's gonna match up, you know. But I mean, you can't take away like all that dog and experience that Holloway is. I mean, there's no doubt that Holloway has skill to match his, but it's just kind of that new school versus old school a little bit in my mind. And I don't know, just if the technology is there, he might be able to pull one out. But if Holloway is like really sharp, it might not matter how good the technology is that he's using, kind of thing. So.
Who's the underdog in that fight? Is it Max?
I think Max is the underdog.
Max is.
But I think it's because he lost 3 times to Volk, and then Volk just got knocked out by Topuria.
Yeah, but so they didn't add in the fact of like Islam knocking him out first, and then the chin was already like compromised. So
yeah.
So you're saying it's a war?
I'm hoping it's a war. Yeah. In my opinion, these fights, like they get billed in whatever, hyped up so much, and then sometimes it's just like this fucking dance party, right? Like I'd rather watch it. You're getting a dance recital. Like nobody's fucking hitting each other. These guys are like wrestle fucking the whole time. It's kind of boring sometimes to watch those type of fights where like they know the risk is so high that they both kind of like stay too tentative. I hope they give you war. I know fucking Holloway's down for it. Obviously he showed it like many times. So I think he's brave enough to kind of like put his money where his mouth is. I hope that he gets the same in return on the other side of the octagon is just kind of my hope.
Yeah.
And I think he knows how to navigate those kind of explosive guys because Justin Gaethje is known as one of the hardest hitters.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean?
And he knocked him out.
And he's 10 pounds heavier than Topuria. So if we're thinking about strength, right, Gaethje should be stronger.
Technically, yeah.
Right. And then Holloway's fought another strong guys like Josh Emmett.
Josh Emmett's another one.
And he pieced him up on the outside too. Obviously, Topuria has a little bit more skills. He closes the distance a little bit better with his boxing than those guys. But it's I don't think it's
That's why I'm saying it's going to. I hope it's a war. I really do. I hope
it has potential to be an exciting fight for sure.
The stamina alone for both of those guys, they can go all 5 rounds.
Yeah.
But then like when you start going to war, like in the middle of the ring, like trading blows, then it starts to become a thing where it's like Max never been knocked out. Ilia's in great form. Who's going to give in first? You know what I mean? That's where I'm trying to get at. You know what I mean? It'd be crazy if there's an early stoppage, but I say 5 rounds.
Yes.
I think you're saying.
I think it has potential to go the distance, like you're saying. The guys for sure have the ability to do it. I think that if they go to war like they say they're going to go to war, somebody gets finished inside of 3 rounds.
So who's that somebody? That's all I want to know.
I know. Yeah,
I know.
I think on a personal level, I'm hoping, like I'm rooting for Holloway, but I think Topuria's.
You think so?
Might have the skill. I think he might. I don't think he knocks him out. I think if he finishes him, he does it on the ground.
It could be one of the most wildest things. It could be like a Tyron Woodley versus Wonder Boy.
But I do hope that Holloway knocks him out. I really do.
But honestly, it could be like one of the craziest things. It can go to a draw. Like
for sure. Anything could happen.
Wonder Boy Thompson.
Yeah, man. Anything could happen.
I think it was the first time that they did it, but anything could happen. I'm saying 5 rounds. So.
I think I want Max Holloway to win too.
I think
I'm a little biased.
It's a fan favorite thing.
It is, but like. I think it's fan favorite. You know what I mean?
So I think what it comes down to is Topuria is a little bit more explosive energy. I think he wants to finish it a little bit earlier. I think as it gets into those later rounds, Max is just longer. He's going to piece him up from the outside. He has better endurance than Topuria.
Yeah.
Like when it gets to that 4th and 5th round, Max is going to pull away with those two. So I think Ilya is going to try to do that damage in the 1st and 2nd round. And if he does, those later rounds are hard for Max. If he's getting hit with those body shots, those things tire you out. If you get cut open, you can't see, that fucks up your whole game plan, right?
Yeah, can do.
I don't know if you watched the last one with Holloway versus Gaethje.
Yep.
Holloway broke his nose in the first round.
He did.
Yeah.
How would Gaethje have fought had he not had a broken nose, right? So it's like damage
It adds
changes
up.
the
Yeah, it all
dynamic of a
compounds.
fight a lot.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Was that the spinning back kick?
Yeah,
When
yeah,
when
he
Gaethje
threw
was
that-
ducking?
Yeah. And he threw it in close too, which is kind of weird. Usually those are like a little bit more of a distance kick.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not, you don't throw them like that, obviously.
That was a good kick, guys.
Yeah. Thank you. I've been working on my technique.
You need a little bit more though. Let me recommend you something to a guy right now.
You can start a free trial. First class is free.
First class is free. So you're saying Max?
I'm in the same boat as Sean. Like I hope Max. I think if it goes into the later rounds, I say Max.
Yep.
I don't really see a place where he gets finished, to be honest, on the feet.
No.
Maybe the wrestling game of Topuria is really good and he gets him down. I don't even really see that because Max has really good takedown defense too. So I want Max, and I kind of
You kind of
I feel like I'm so biased that I'm just going to say Max, but obviously Topuria is undefeated.
yeah.
So it's
So that's another factor too. What do you
Yeah.
think, Mike?
Sean kind of took the words out of my mouth. I am hopeful that Holloway gets it done, but I just think
You think Ilya is going to take away?
yeah.
Oh.
And I don't see I don't see either one of them getting gassed
yeah.
at the slightest. I think someone's gonna either one of them could get caught. You know what I mean? And I couldn't even tell you what rounds. You know, I don't know.
You just pick a winner, hope for the best. Safe betting.
I
you know
think
what I mean?
Ilya's gonna win. I'm hopeful Holloway wins.
Yeah.
You know.
But you think
But-
Ilya's going to win?
Yeah.
All right, that's a good pick. That's a good pick.
The real question is, are we going to be at Buffalo Wild Wings? Are we going down there together? Or I'll bring the donuts.
Oh, Tiago's there.
Oh yeah. Hey, if you bring donuts down there, 100%.
Say less.
Ask the kitchen to make donuts.
Say less.
One last question before we get going. Dream fight matchup that you would want to see in the UFC or anywhere really.
Oh, dude, stick around. I want to dream fight Mike White in a couple of
Oh yeah, perfect. Thanks, T.
No doubt.
I don't know why I'm brain farting the name. Who is the current heavyweight champion from England?
Tom Aspinall.
Tom Aspinall. Thank you. I knew it was Tom, but I could not get his last name. I would want to see him versus John Jones.
John Jones going to be fighting Stipe. Not the same. Stipe's old.
Yeah, CP's old. He just it doesn't have it in him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone they keep on trying to build that fight, and it's like nobody wants that fight. They want the Tom Aspinall fight.
Yeah, another good one would be John Jones and Ngannou.
No,
That would
how about
be a
John
good
Jones versus
fight.
Alex Pereira?
Oh, going like at
Going
205
heavyweight.
to 205. Oh,
No, going to heavyweight. We didn't even touch on Alex.
I like
Pereira.
that one. I like John versus Alex.
That would be such a great matchup. It would be GOAT versus.
But John has such good wrestling.
John would
again.
just take him down.
Yeah.
But do you think I don't know?
Because we've seen what happened with Cyril Gahn and John Jones. It was,
Yeah,
it was like a first round. He got
first round,
rear naked
first round,
choked or whatever.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen. I like Alex Pereira versus John Jones is one. Tom Aspinall versus John Jones is another. Obviously, when Conor McGregor returns, I would love to see him versus Mike Chandler.
You know what I want to happen? I want Max Holloway to win this weekend.
Yeah.
And then to go up to challenge Islam. Super fight, dude. That'd be a super
I feel
fight
like that
right
would
there.
just be a repeat of Islam and Volk.
Yeah, you think so?
100% because Islam's so like his wrestling capability. Max would be suffocated by that.
But he didn't wrestle Volk all that well.
Yeah, but I don't know why he switched up his game plan the first time.
Yeah.
He should have just stayed with it.
And then in the second one, he head kicked him. So
Yeah,
he went
so-
to kickboxing. So I don't know.
I don't know. That'd be a good fight to watch though.
Yeah. It'd also be a cool crossover for like Muay Thai and like a UFC fighter. They did that with Demetrius Johnson and what's his face? There's a Muay Thai guy.
Was it Rotang? They
Rotang.
did
It
it
was
with? Yeah,
Rotang.
I think it was Rotang.
And I think they had like a mixed rule
They
set.
did,
Yeah.
yeah. They did like one round was stand up, one round was MMA, and they went back to stand up again or something like that.
That's
Yeah,
pretty interesting.
yeah, it was wild.
Demetrius Johnson is a dog too.
I
man.
think some of those things would be cool to see. Would be like to see some one fighters and some UFC fighters get matched up.
Oh, yeah.
That
Like,
would be.
who like anybody that comes to your
I
mind?
think just putting the almost like the brands
Like a cross
against
brand
each other.
almost,
No,
right?
almost like remember like like WWF versus WCW.
Oh, back in the day when they- yeah, I
these
remember
two
that, yeah,
promoters like going to war with each other and like I
and then
think
when
that
it
would
takes
just
all,
be- yeah, I think that would just be a cool thing to have.
That'd be
see
pretty
who's-
dope, actually.
See who's
I would like
top
that.
boss. Yeah.
I would like that.
You know, it'd be interesting too is they have the whole Jake Paul like boxing thing, like celebrity, influencer boxing.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see those guys in either Muay Thai or like MMA.
They get crushed.
I feel like because I remember Logan Paul, he was like, "Oh, give me a UFC contract, I'll knock anybody out."
Yeah, one
And
of them was trying to fight at the PFL too, I think.
Yes, I think Jake Paul was trying to.
Yeah.
And I think they can do well in boxing because it's such, it's more limited than something like Muay Thai. There's
100%.
so many more weapons than you guys have. So for someone to learn that game, I think it would just take too long for them to learn it.
Yeah.
Or something like MMA where there's
Catching
wrestling
up, especially catching up to people that have been doing it for years.
forever. Yeah.
Catching up, that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that in general? Just like those celebrity boxing.
It's kind of trash.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, it's kind of like.
I mean, it's great for, like, when they
fucking shits on your sport a little bit. It's like, like when your grandmother goes out and like plays football, like you're just like dragging football through the mud. Like who wants to watch a bunch of like ninnies do the sport that you love? You know what I mean?
Disrespectful to, like, the
I
fighting
mean,
culture?
no. I mean, if it's done as a circus, but they have that stuff. They have stuff like that in Thailand too. They have like something called Fight Circus where they'll put like, this little tiny thing against this big giant guy, or like, have like 5 little people fighting like a regular person. So, just wild stuff like that. Like, so there's all that stuff. It's just like, to me, I just could care less about it. It's just like a theatrical, like, I respect any of these guys, like Wiz Khalifa, for example, trains Muay Thai. Like, real gangster. Like, he's doing it for real. Like, I respect the shit out of that. You know what I mean? Like, some of these guys that are celebrities or movie stars, actors, singer-songwriters, musician, whatever, like, they take to the sport and they actually, like, do it and work it out. Like, I respect the hell out of that. But to throw, like, like a bunch of clowns in the ring and, like, just do it for a circus thing, like, you can miss me with that thing,
Yeah,
like.
seriously. I would like to see Sean Schubert versus Jake Paul.
Dude, he's a big dude.
He's
He's massive.
He is a big.
He's
It's all the
massive.
steroids.
I don't know. Maybe.
Could be strawberry donuts too.
Because that is a big thing, like weight classes, right? People don't really,
it's weight class.
or at least casuals don't consider that, I think, enough. Even like,
It's a big deal.
even 15, 20 pounds can be a big difference, which we were just talking about earlier too.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah. Jake Paul and Mike Tyson are fighting in November, I think. So
Oh, really?
I will not watch that fight. I won't, because it's not the same Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
But he's training like an animal, though. I don't know if you ever seen training videos of Mike Tyson now. Dude, his neck is like the size of that tire.
Yeah.
He has a huge neck. Like, I respect the fuck out of him because he's 6 years old and he's training like he's like in his 20s again.
Yeah.
So, but I don't like the whole YouTubers fighting. I don't like content creators fighting. Stay in your lane. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if you do it, if you actually like, take your time, respect it, and not make a clown show out of it, then you gain the respect. But if you're gonna be like, switching the feet, doing all this bullshit in the ring, get the fuck out.
Because I think if you want to be a fighter, just do it the way everyone else does it, right? Like, there's a way to come up in boxing. There's a way to come up in Muay Thai.
You get respect for like coming up through the ranks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you get dropped on the fucking pay-per-view on HBO. Is like, what the fuck did you do to get here, bro?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Right.
I've been fucking fighting in basements and like these fucking like back alley underground unsanctioned, like just getting my skill up, and just because you were on fucking TikTok, like you get to come into the fucking big stage and make $1 million on HBO. Like, yeah, fuck you guys.
Fuck you guys.
Fuck you. Fuck you and your
piece of
TikTok.
All right, hey guys, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
dude.
you,
That was
Tio.
awesome.
Any last minute plugs, Mr. Eccentric? What do you want to get
No,
out?
make sure you give us a follow on Instagram. I'm Shaun Red Seal Muay Thai. It's all underscored instead of separated with spaces.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Mikey White Red Seal, he's on there too. Check him out.
Hey.
Follow the boys. Follow the gym. Come down here and get some work. Hit me up and let me know you saw us on Too Legit podcast. And
Watch
we'll
the first episode.
hit you with a
guys.
special deal.
special deal, 20% off.
Especially
and
the
a jelly
mindset thing. I'm
donut.
going to look into that
Yeah,
myself.
I am going to look up. I'm
Yeah.
going
It's
to
very
definitely watch
interesting.
that.
Because I think even beyond fighting, just people in everyday life, business owners, anyone could learn from the mindset that is cultivated in fighting.
100%.
So,
Awesome. This has been a great episode. I'm
Thanks,
Tiago.
guys. Appreciate it.
I'm Tiago. That's Sean. That's Mike. That's Alex. We'll see you guys next time.
peace.